So Nick, you called this meeting the meeting of the minds. What did you want to talk about?
Yeah, I guess I was just like interested with all the stuff that's been going on right now with the whole right-wing influence over content creators. I've been reading a lot of Jeremy's tweets, which are really funny. Um, but I guess how much do you think in terms of like the content creators that were um I guess funded, how many of them do you think like knowingly took that money, understanding I guess what they were getting into?
Tim Pool and Dave Rubin, 100%. Benny Johnson, maybe. I didn't see a figure for him, but he was included in the top three. And then for the other three, it's possible, but without knowing how much they were being compensated, it's hard to say.
You think it's interesting they hit Lauren first?
Lauren Chen?
Yeah.
No,
She
because
was the
she
one
was
that
the
was
one,
like running the
the company.
money between people. Yeah.
Oh.
Ten-
Like she was like it was like the Russians reached out to her and were like, "Here's some money."
Oh,
And
so
she was like,
she
"Oh, I know
has
these
to
other
know.
people. I'll get them in on it." Oh no, 1000% she knew. They have like they have really funny shit for her.
Yeah.
Destiny, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There was that thing where they were talking to her on multiple different accounts, and then at one point she was checking the time in like Moscow to make sure that
Yeah, she sent a
could, like,
message
talk to them
asking
at that
when an
point in time.
invoice was going to be paid. And then when the person didn't respond immediately, she Googled time in Moscow and saw it was like 4:50 a.m. And she's like, oh, shit. Okay. Yeah.
This
So
feels like a South Park sketch,
a little
but
bit.
like it's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Not only a South Park sketch, it just feels like just any movie. Like why the idea that the Russian government is funding YouTubers, especially Lauren Chen. Is she even that famous?
You know, somebody posted something yesterday, and I'm kicking myself for not realizing this. But I think that it might be incorrect to look at this as like a foreign influence campaign per se. Like they're trying to get certain messaging out there, which they were. And it might be more appropriate to just look at it as money laundering. Like even though this got busted, they did what they wanted to do, which was pay a ton of money to Tim Pool and Dave Rubin. Like those guys got paid out massively. Who knows where Dave Rubin would be? Like I said, I'm willing to bet that like 80% of his income, 90% of his income for the last year probably came from this company. I don't think that guy makes very much, just looking at his presence online.
Yeah.
So if their goal was to like keep like anti-American stuff like that afloat, like they did it, that's really good. And they passed off a lot of money to Tim Pool as well. Benny Johnson is also anti-American scumbag traitor as fuck. I guess he got some money. Yeah. So I mean, like in that sense, their mission was successful. And because of how Russia works, there's a thing where people think that the goal of Russian propaganda in the U.S., there's still a popular thought. People think that the goal is to support like Donald Trump or support a candidate that helps Russia. It's not. The goal is to just cause chaos and to sow dissent and distrust inside the U.S. domestic political scene. So even them getting caught still technically helps Russia because now everybody's going to be looking at Republican commentators like, oh, well, now we super don't trust you, which is what Russia wants, is less trust at home, means less united front foreign policy wise, and then it just helps them. Yeah.
Right. But I think another question that I think a lot of people are going to have that is my biggest question is what was actually going on as far as the information that they were being told to like put out? Like was Tim Pool being given like talking points like you should say this, you should say this? How was this
There's definitely going to be like an investigation on what they were covering and what months they were covering to see if people can correlate like talking points, right? I assume that's going to be someone's going to do that in the next 2 weeks.
Was that in the indictment?
So in the indictment, the only thing that was listed was that the Tenet Media channel seemed to have to put out certain things, and that was communicated to some of the producers. But we don't know how much contact the producers had with the commenters in terms of what was being dictated to them for media agenda. And so far, I think Tim Pool and I think Dave Rubin have come out and said none of their content was dictated to them by any of the producers or by Lauren and her husband. So that's what they've said publicly, but we don't know. Yeah.
I could believe that they weren't given specific talking points. But what is confusing to me is why, because Tim says he's a victim, right? He's a victim of receiving, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
My biggest question is like, so let's say someone came to me, Turkey Tom channel, I get 1 million views on my videos, and they said like, here's $100,000 per video, right?
Yeah.
I would be very confused as to what the fuck is going on, because that's so much money. That's more money than I've ever been offered for any sponsorship ever, especially if they're not saying like give a specific talking point.
Yeah, this
right?
is the
Like,
thing
that
that
would be
people-
even more weird.
the thing that
because I don't know
people-
what they want.
Yeah, the thing that's the most annoying to me is Tim can rely on this because nobody knows and people aren't in the industry. The weirdest thing about the contracts, the money part is really crazy. That is true. But like the weirdest thing is the fact that it's not tied to specific calls to action. It's not tied to specific plugging of like links or sponsors. Like nobody's ever seen remotely remotely close to a return on investment on any of that, like that would make it even more crazy to be offered that much, and there's no specific ties to what you have to do. And again, if you're like in politics and it's a political company approaching you, you have to be asking like, how could you not know, right? Like that's insane.
I mean, not just if you're in politics, if you're in any like sphere of YouTube stuff and you're getting offered like, like the typical offer I'll get for a sponsorship for like a video that gets 1 million views is like, I would say like $20,000 or under that, right? If someone was offering me 5 times that and they didn't want me to say anything,
like stake.com,
there was no clear
that's the only way. Yeah.
And even what is your
but even with stake, it's like the motivation is clear. They want you to promote their service. They're just willing to pay a lot more because they have a lot more money, and they just want their name out there. If they're not even saying like what they really want you to do, right?
Is that
I'd be
fee?
like, what
is
the
that
fuck?
for like a full like a minute interstitial or something, or how much, or a pre-roll and affiliate or below, or what is the
for like a 1 minute spot? I would say, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the fact that they were paying this much for no shout outs, also for Tim Pool, it wasn't even exclusive. These were non-exclusive videos. So he could post them to his main channel, and he was posting to the main channel and this other channel. These videos are getting anywhere from like 500 views to like 10,000 views per video. Like all of these were underperforming like crazy. It's just insane.
One thing I did think about, and we're kind of going conspiracy mode here, but one thing I did think about was maybe the goal is so they license these people's content. They get a channel called Tenet going. They have all these recognizable commentators that everybody knows of, right? Everybody knows who these people are. And then what they can do is they can start slowly adding to the cast with their own like people that they would like from RT or something like that. And they can kind of slowly integrate these other people with, so like, let's say you watch Tim Pool, you watch Lauren Chen, you watch whoever the fuck else, Benny Johnson, right? All these guys are the lineup. And then you throw one other guy in there who is like, oh, this is like our, the Russian viewpoint commentator. You throw him in there in the mix, and then you can slowly add to the repertoire and have like a greater brand. This is obviously, there's no proof that this is happening.
I understand. I understand the idea between that, but I think Russia likes to keep their people entirely separated so that it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. Like if you look at Tenet and you look at the talent, it's all like Americans and Canadians. That's it. If they started throwing Russian people onto the roster, it wouldn't look as legitimately domestic,
Right.
Like the goal is to just build out your domestic roster so that it looks organic and authentic and like it's coming from within the country.
Right. Yeah.
I was joking. It was like if Progressive Victory was funded by Hamas or something. Like
basically, kind of, yeah. And was passing a ton of money to influencers to do videos and to build,
How do you kind of vet that process when you're doing your stuff with them?
Well, Progressive Victory has never paid me, so there's nothing for me to vet. Yeah, everybody
they just set up like the debates and stuff?
Have they even set up debates for me?
They do campaigns or something.
I thought like the Cenk Uyghur thing was with them. I might be wrong.
I think that's modern day debate.
Wait. No. They did set up an event that I was able to go to with the No, they have set up events and stuff for me before, but they've never paid me before, so I've never had to think about that.
Every time I think of them, I think about Xander Hall. Did you see those DMs?
Oh, which ones?
The ones where he was screaming like "Cherry, cherry, cherry! I'm going to be homeless because of you." Progressive Victory hasn't paid me.
Pretty insane.
Those were awesome. Back to the Tim thing. As far as Tim Pool, his output on YouTube and his like sort of influence is super insane. And I have noticed that there's been some like I've seen clips of him talking about how like Ukraine is our enemy and stuff like that. And I'm very curious, like I guess as time goes on, as this indictment goes through, if there will be any reveal at all of any direct communication. Or maybe it was just kind of understood. Maybe he had some call with Lauren that wasn't recorded or something. It was kind of understood, like you take this money, and as a result, you kind of have to, give these sort of talking points. But right now, I mean, there's just no, as far as like Tim and stuff and people like him, there's like no confirmation. And I was also thinking like, as far as the actual audience impact, I feel like if my audience found out that I was taking like a crazy amount of money for any side from any country, from any I guess I do drama content. Let's say like OTK started paying me $100,000 a month, and all of a sudden I start talking up OTK. I feel like that would like ruin my credibility, right? But for someone like Tim, I really wonder if this is gonna have any impact at all on his brand, on his
because
like,
their average
audience
viewers
trust.
wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah,
average viewer
conservatives
doesn't
have
care.
no standards for behavior. They can do basically anything. I'm not exaggerating. There is no standard for behavior. So, no, I don't think it'll have much of an impact on him with his core viewer base. There might be people at the edges that are lost, and it might be an attack that people use. Like, if I'm ever going on to anything with anybody related to Tim Pool, you better believe, like, I think I have a Piers Morgan show I think I'm doing on Monday, and if anybody related to this is on, I'm going to be going in on that the entire time because it's wild. But for their own like core audience and the people in their orbit, they're not going to bring it up. They'll just be chill. Like Tim literally has people that worked for RT like on his show pretty frequently. So
Right. The amount of money though, I just can't get over it. $100,000 per podcast,
per video,
per
non-exclusive,
episode?
non-exclusive, just like stuff that was cut from his own channel and then thrown up onto that.
Per video.
Per video, it was in one video per week. So he made a little over, I think, $5 million for his year's worth of work. Yeah, insane.
Yeah, I mean, you can play stupid with that, but like,
no, you can't.
I mean, who's
like maybe to the public you can, but
try,
like,
is
if
what
you-
I mean.
yeah.
It's like you could try to play stupid, but you kind of have to know
Yeah.
that this company's just dumping a shit money into you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine you get pulled over by a cop and you're in court and you're like trying to argue and somebody's like, okay, so you didn't know the cocaine was in the trunk. You're like, well, no, my friend just wanted me to deliver something to a friend and he gave you money for gas. Yeah. How much money did he give you for gas? $3,000. Like you didn't think for a second that well, I don't know. Like, no, that's retarded. It's so much money. He must know that some stupid shit is happening. Like there's just no way that he does.
The most charitable explanation is that he has Down syndrome, unironically.
No, but that's
like
always the most charitable. It's like, okay, they're either malicious or they're retarded. That's like the main game of YouTube. And for the most part, I think usually they're stupid. In this case, not. You have to be malicious.
I think
Right.
absolutely.
There's no way all of these content creators got caught in the same web.
And then even Tim going on
Even
a show afterwards,
coincidentally,
and Tim
yeah.
was saying that that's actually a low rate for him. And I'm like, really, bro? For non-exclusive content, no CTAs, no ads, no anything. You're lying so much.
I
Yeah,
thought the whole thing was that conservatives can't get ads.
true.
What is the coffee brand coffee paying?
Black Rifle Coffee, yeah. And then the fact that he's like trying to say that everything about it is just so stupid. Like you have to, he would know. You absolutely know.
Interesting. As far as Lauren Chen.
Oh wait,
she's
also I just want to say one
Canadian-
thing to that real quickly as well for the kind of like this under the hood intent as well. The fact that he's getting offered that and he absolutely knows, okay? He knows that money's coming from no good of a place. He must know, right? To say that that's not going to influence his ordinary content at all is ridiculous, right? If Progressive Victory was paying me $50,000 a month and then I go on stream and there's some progressive candidate that's running for office against some like establishment Dem, you don't think I'm going to have that in the back of my mind? Like, I'm about to blow up this fucking candidate. Is this going to hurt my other deal? Like, absolutely, Tim is going to be thinking about this
Right.
constantly. You're getting $400,000 a month? Of course you are.
Yeah, you hear arguments from that when people get like, I was watching like Marquez Brownlee. He was doing a thing with Tesla a couple years ago, and they don't get paid to do it. They get like the opportunity to post the video with the car early. So some of the people who got that opportunity were like, oh, well, I didn't get paid to give this review, but like obviously you're compromised because you have the ability to make this content sooner than everyone else. Yeah, that doesn't apply to Tim. He got $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as Lauren, she's Canadian, right? Is the Canadian government coming after her, or is it still the U.S. government? Is there going to be like extradition? How does that work? Do you know?
Technically, there hasn't even been an unsealed, or no indictments have been unsealed or revealed yet for Lauren Chen or her husband. So we don't know, but we'll see.
Okay. I did see people on Twitter talking about her YouTube channel going down. Was that her doing, or was that YouTube's termination? Do we have any?
I don't think we
I
know
don't
it
think
yet.
word
they
on
show
that?
anymore. They used to tell you directly on the page. Now it just goes, channel's gone. But
Yeah.
you have to assume, I don't know, with Tenant Media, do you think they took it down themselves?
But the thing is, like, if YouTube did delete Lauren, why would they not delete everyone else there?
Well,
Right?
because
Is it
Lauren
Because
seems like
Lauren
she's
is directly
deeper.
implicated.
Yeah.
Like in
But you
the
gotta
indictment
wonder-
for the Russians, they directly show a criminal intent from. They say that Founder 1 and Founder 2 worked with the two Russian indicted members to deceive the 6 commenters. So
Gotcha. How do you feel about them deleting her channel without any like trial happening yet or anything like that?
I have no clue what any of that is. I don't know. Like I don't know who deleted it or why it was deleted, so I wouldn't comment. Yeah.
If let's say she was terminated by YouTube, how would you feel about that?
I don't know. Hold on. People are saying there was an article that was published. YouTube takes down right-wing channels linked to DOJ Russian indictments. YouTube terminated Tenet Media and other channels were run by Lauren Chen, conservative influencer linked to allegations that Russia paid for right-wing content.
Did this outlet reach out to YouTube for comment? Like, who is this?
Not
Is
sure.
this like a reputable person?
Well, I mean, it's the Washington Post. I assume so, but let's.
Oh, okay, Washington
Oh.
Post. Okay, I
Yeah.
was just asking if it was like
The fake,
Poop
the
McGee,
lamestream
Tartar
media.
Jerkers website. Yeah, exactly. Washington Post. All right, I would
You have
generally
to
trust
assume
that.
that maybe they hit the people who are directly implicated, but they're going to wait and see how it goes before they start hitting people like Tim.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't know
Even
if they
though-
would. We don't know if they would ever do that, right? Because we don't have any wrongdoing proof of them that was alleged, at least in the indictments, right?
Yeah, I just figured like if they're going to take like immediate action, it would be on like the most guilty party.
Sure.
Maybe there's no legal wrongdoing. Maybe legally there's plausible deniability. But in my opinion, there's no way he didn't know. There's just no way. He had to have known. Like Lauren, especially Lauren Chen comes to you and she's like, "Oh, God, this business deal." It's like, okay, how did Lauren Chen of all people get this business deal?
Yeah.
She's not that famous. She doesn't make that much money. She's not that relevant. I mean, I guess she's on the Blaze, but you know, I don't think she's pulling in like the most insane major numbers there. And then she's like, "Hey, this businessman, what was it, Gregorian or something?
Something Eduardo Gregorian or something. Yeah.
Literally, like, why are all these fake people? Like, who's that other guy, Egon Shalakian?
Oh,
Is that the other
Aegon?
fake guy? Why do they all have these Armenian names? What's going on? The Armenians are having some interesting influence right now. But even beyond that, like, just realistically speaking, Tim Pool, in the position he's in, should not be unquestioningly taking $100,000 per.
Video.
It wasn't even a sponsorship, right? It wasn't even a unique video. They just clipped his stuff.
Correct.
That is insane.
Yep.
Like it's beyond the pale of reasonable doubt, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Nick, what else do you want to talk about?
I'm trying to see where was the Jeremy tweet I was looking at. I've been just laughing hysterically at this thing. It's like they're some of the hardest working employees, as expected. They've disbanded and stuff.
There was an old Jeremy tweet where he was actually tweeting about. I saw it in some article about Tenet Media. He was like, "Who the fuck is funding this?" Even he was sussed out. Did you
no
see
way,
that?
No way.
So
I swear to
here's
God.
something I will say, and you guys are probably more connected to these people now than I am. There are definitely offers from RT and RT subsidiaries that are made to a lot of right-wing content creators, some American and some not American, that a lot of people in the right-wing scene know about, but they will never, ever, ever go public with it. But if you have people there, I don't know what your relationship is like with Jeremy, but yeah, you should poke him and talk to him about that. But this is I think it's a pretty well-known thing for that group of people.
Here's this quartering tweet. I'll message this to you, Destiny, so you can pull this up. He didn't get a lot of attention at the time, but one article by, let's see, what is this website I found this on?
Yeah, I
Daily
see it.
Dot. They picked this up. They said, like, who is funding this
Yeah, smiley face.
with a smiley face? Is this like implying that he knows who's funding it, or he's genuinely questioning? Like,
It
what's
wouldn't
going on
surprise me if he's heard weird things about this.
here? Huh.
Because if he's close enough to anybody to know any of the contract amounts, then you know it's bullshit. You immediately know that it's insane. If you know if you know at least what Tim Pool and Dave Rubin are getting paid, and maybe Benny Johnson. He's always listed in the top 3, but I don't know what.
Normally, I'd say there's no way someone would make a comment like that implying they know where the money's coming from and then say that Lauren Chen is innocent until proven guilty. But it's Jeremy, and he just lies for money all the time now.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, Jeremy's the doc defender. Speaking of doc, did you guys see his new response?
Yep.
Oh, God.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right. Bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.